4-cell difficulty. Finally added in the last patch, this is Nightmare Mode. At least I assume that's what that says. I don't know French. Sorry. But anyway, it's a significant difficulty up compared to the last few boss cell difficulties. And it takes away all of the health healing flasks, even the little individual single charge that you get in between levels, as you can see described there in the 3 source boss cells. Oh boy. And for some reason all the difficulty levels are in French, but you know, that's how it goes all the time. French game. Anyway, you get a lot more cells in this version, but everything is a lot tougher. Oh yes, and also there is, of course, new icons for all of the items now. They look a lot better. Oh boy. Alright, post-commentary. No question, because are you kidding me? Holy crap, this one is a thing. Motion Twin sat down and they said, you know what? People are still somehow able to complete our game. So, why don't we figure out some way to stop that from happening? I mean, it didn't. Post-commentary, spoil that right now. And also, since I'm sure you're wondering immediately, do you get anything for doing this? Nope, it is just for the extra cells. You don't even get to upgrade things even more. The first couple runs that I was doing was the damage reduction and melee because, oh yes, also many more elites. Oh, and you can see all the grenadiers being replaced by bombardiers. I hope you like bombardiers and I hope you like cannibals because they appear, oh, and especially inquisitors. How can I forget? They appear in everywhere. All the time. You can't get away from those guys. I think that one of the places that I don't show off in this video, but the ramparts, you know how there were slashers in there in some of the higher level difficulties? Well, now they're all cannibals. Oh, yes, it is. No, but for real, this is much more hardcore than you would be used to when it comes to increased difficulty. And I can feel the hardcore appeal this game's screaming, but man, it is rough. And like I said, no increased ability to upgrade items, no real benefit aside from getting extra cells and bragging rights. Which, you know, I'm always down for bragging rights, but yeah, I really expected the final boss to be dropping the Giant Killer, Giant Killer I believe it was. The weapon that, as of yet, is still not in the game as far as I know, at least as far as I can tell. Because, also another spoiler that you're not going to see here, the 4th cell door in the graveyard has now been replaced by a 5th cell door. Oh boy! Of course, it's been obvious since the early days of boss runes that there were going to be 5 major bosses in the game, so no surprise there, but the idea that it's like, prevent you from getting in there, well, let's just up that boss cell count by 1. Ah, well. So, the deal with this, yes, in new things in this area. I mean, in all areas, I think there are even more enemies all over the place, so good luck with that. But trackers! Oh boy! And along with the increased amount of elites, tracker elites are some of the absolute worst, because they will continue to teleport next to you, even if they're not in Form 2, which on any boss cell difficulty means you hit the enemy even once. But another thing with 4-cell doors is there's now a bunch of 4-cell doors everywhere. So, it's a nice way to get a little extra stats. There's often curse chests behind there. In the Sepulchre, which I don't think was in this video, but I did in the winning run, there's one of the linked items, you know, the one where you get a choice between 2 items. Also, God. I'll say this, when it comes to strategy for this run, the run I beat it with was focusing on dodging and then having turrets be the main way that I dealt damage. It was a very effective way to go about a run in the original 3-cell difficulty runs that I was doing, and it remains a pretty effective run right now. So, well, a pretty effective way to do a run right now. Also, overwhelming amount of damage, which is always pretty nice. Spiteful Sword is a great pickup here. If you're going for a melee brutality focus, you're able to rally up a lot of the health because you have no ability to heal aside from food, the 4 flask charges that you start with, and that's about it. Alienation, if you take that too, which I would highly suggest doing. Like I said, 4 boss cells, and a lot of what they did in the ramparts even was adding a lot more curse chests. When I went down to the Sepulchre, I think that the first thing I did was break open the gold door for the Nightlight. You know, an item that I don't even really use, but hey, if it curses you, that's healing. So that's a way better way to get more health than you would think. But rallying, still great. Spiteful Sword, still great for rallying. It is the purest way to exploit the rally system for all it's worth. You know, aside from getting health back after you get hit and not dying. Oh, so many wandering elites everywhere. And the worst thing is, like I said, a lot of places now have cannibals in it. The Slumbering Sanctuary and the Ramparts are 2 big ones. Which... oh boy, look at this now. Not a big deal. It's what you gotta remember is that enemies will always pause a brief second to attack you. So even if you're surrounded by everything, as long as you stay calm, stay focused, understand what you're trying to do, every single one of those dudes will drop some sort of item, and it is an improved item compared to the depth of... that was close. Compared to the depth of the biome that you're in, or it's an amulet. And I should go without saying that I want the amulet a lot more. A little bit more damage reduction here. Yeah, every enemy takes a half second before attacking. That is one of the important things to think, so that you can kind of plan out how you're going to be dodging things. That's one of those ultra advanced sort of moves. If I could say that, I don't know if that sounds a little pretentious, I understand, but it's something that has gotten me through a lot of I'm not sure what's going on otherwise. It's because I know that if an enemy is moving towards me, it's not attacking me, pretty much. Woof. Oh, and if you're not sure what boss cells are, and frankly, if you're watching this video, you might not. That's one of the frequently asked questions. Boss cells increase the amount that you can upgrade items at forges. Oh yes, they changed up the phaser. Now it does a set amount of damage instead of a percentage, and it has damage associated with it rather than a damage reduction. Which, that's too bad. The damage reduction is what made it, you know, like, super 10 out of 10 S tier. Even before you upgrade it to S tier. But yes, increases the amount that you can upgrade items at forges. A little extra CC rather than the damage that you get out of the hook is probably more worthwhile, in my book at least. It increases the amount of difficulty, the density of enemies. It will put out-of-depth enemies in there, so you get trackers, you get the kamikaze bats, you get bombardiers replacing grenadiers in this area, for example. Enemies hit harder, enemies take more hits. You might have noticed just how ridiculously tanky, and now it's adding a bunch of elites to areas. And you also are able to then enter doors that will appear in the background. They'll light up as you have the appropriate amount of boss cells to enter them. And you get stuff in there like chests, extra cell caches, extra curse chests are especially good too. Shops will appear in there. They're consistent between levels. If it's a shop in the 1 cell door in the promenade, for example, it's always going to be a shop in the 1 cell door in the promenade. 2 cell door in the promenade, for example, gives you an extra cache of cells. 3 cell is a extra chest. 4 cell is another extra chest. It's a nice way to augment your runs and to really get as many advantages possible, which you really need when you're doing the higher cell difficulties and everything is just hitting like a truck and impossible to kill. Oh, shockers. Man, those guys weren't difficult enough before. Look at that damage! Woof. And it's like, I want to say, yeah, just, you know, use that Spiteful Sword. That's what I got for. But if I accidentally hit the back of one of those Thornies, I would be dead. No question. No, it's a race to find some way to curse myself so I get a little bit of extra damage with Alienation that I picked up. I grabbed the heart, and hey, I'm not taking 30 extra curse. That's way too much. Tempting, though. Woof. And the way that you get boss cells, it used to be that, you know, you'd get it from you would get the first boss cell from the assassin, then you go around and beat the other boss cells with the first cell that you got equipped, and then you got the rest of the boss cells. However, now what you do is you have to beat the final boss. That was tempting, but not with that modifier. It's too much. However, here's the curse that I was looking for. Yes, now you have to beat the final boss to get the first boss cell. You got to beat the final boss with one boss cell equipped to get the second boss cell. 2 boss cells equipped to get the third boss cell, so on and so forth. Oh, I actually managed to beat the final boss of the current build here, the Hand, on 3 boss cells first try. And I assume that it's going to be that sort of way with 4 boss cells here. It's a lot of getting used to how to play the game, doing it well, etc. and so forth. And I said that 2 times in a row pretty quickly. You know, there's some points when you're doing commentary that you get in like a groove and just keep using the same phrases over and over. That's neither here nor there. Big thing to look out for when you're cursed, especially, is running into shockers. That is always the #1 way that... Oof, rough. Oh, and that was... that Thorny was on point, I'll give him that. Still annoying. Round 2. Almost forgot to start recording at the start here. Thankfully, I got it before I got anywhere in. Got anywhere in the biome, so here's the basic build I'm working with. Same deal, damage reduction. Getting the fire grenade is going to help quite a bit for any sort of... The #1 way you're going to be doing damage in these runs, because this is how it feels to do 3-cell runs if you don't have everything upgraded, is that you're looking for some form of... Okay. Some form of... what's the word I'm trying to think of? Synergy. You're looking for plus 100% on burning targets, poison targets, something to get you a ton of damage, because enemies extremely tanky in this mode. So you're going to be having a hard time killing them unless you have some sort of advantage there. And really, you're not going to get that in your first 2 biome trips. It's the prisoner cells and either the promenade, which honestly I think that I would not suggest going to the promenade if you're doing 4 cells, because those trackers, along with the kamikaze bats, along with it's just everything is so much worse compared to going into the sewers, which is still rough, but not nearly as rough in my opinion. And the way that I've kind of figured out, the way that I've kind of structured my runs is don't even bother fighting things in the first... That was a nice elevator kill there. Don't even bother fighting enemies in the first 2 biomes, or at least try to avoid it as much as possible. Get through there, and then in the next few biomes, start to build up some sort of build. Like I said, best way I figured out how to do it, or at least the most effective way, is throw down turrets and focus on dodging. Don't even bother like getting up in enemies' grills. You don't have the ability to heal very well, and even if you did have the ability to heal very well, the enemies do so much damage that, you know, what are you gonna do? I would much rather take something that does a little bit more damage than a torch, even if it gives me 20% extra damage. With the amount of it... Yeah, that was pretty clearly so that I could get that little shield there. You know, with the amount of damage that enemies doing, 20% extra is not that big of a deal. Besides, I have a lot of damage reduction from the tonic, from the tonic, and from the fire grenade. Spike boots are a really good item. I think that's what carries me for the most part in this run, because the critical damage that I'm getting off of the spike boots when enemies are attacking is just amazing. It's great. Not enough to carry me through. Well, not to play my hand too quickly here, but it's rough. This mode is rough. It's just hard, period. I'm going to try to get used to it as much as I can, but even getting a single win here was difficult. And I don't know if I have any real suggestion. There's a lot of just don't get hit is all I can really say. Milk Alienation for all it's worth. Get yourself cursed constantly if you're even a little down on damage, and then just play as cautiously as possible. Phaser is a very, very good item right now, but having unpredictable movement is something that I really want to try to avoid because of the amount of enemies in every single area now. Ugh. As they would say in Death Road to Canada, every biome in this mode is enemies that are sardine-packed and mega-cheesed, so it's a thing. Additionally, I think one of the things that really helped me a lot was very late game, especially when you get into the castle, is taking a shield that gives you a lot of damage reduction, because in the castle, the damage reduction when you have everything fully upgraded is a minus 40%, and with the amount of elites that you're going to be finding in those areas, you can easily get 20%, and I can't believe that didn't hit there. You can easily get a minus 20% damage reduction necklace. And additionally, with that 40%, that's a total of 60%. And you also have the momentary invincibility shield after getting hit, which is quite nice for enemies like, say, Shockers, if you're going through the Sepulchre, which I did. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but the thing with going through the Sepulchre is that you have ample ability to curse yourself in that area. Almost every single one of the cell doors, it contains something that will allow you to curse yourself, which with Alienation, that's a lot of extra health that you can kind of get up. Fourth cell door in this area, and no surprise, contains a curse chest. And I just said, yeah, sure, why not? Heavy crossbow, really nice item, probably would be great with because that was something that would not benefit from the current stats that I'm working with. However, something that holds you still while you're firing it, not the best. I would much rather have a shield for that even just momentary amount of damage prevention, that invincibility shield. It's like half a second, but it can save you in a pinch, you know? Oh. Aside from that, I don't think there's any... Like I said, in the graveyard, there is now a 5-cell door, presumably replacing the 4-cell door leading to the repository. Still not ready for showtime yet. Too bad. I was kind of hoping with this recent patch that it would be ready, but no, that's some super end game shenanigans that are apparently happening with that particular area. This isn't necessarily better. I'd rather have something that gives me some damage reduction, but it is better in the sense that it's a better shield. I'm not going to be trying to parry much of anything, and although I could get more brutality from the... I'm really focusing on one primary damage dealing weapon, the boots here, and then everything else being focused on some sort of defensive mechanism. This is something that has carried me through a lot of... Also, that was so close, I cannot even express it in words. The damage reduction melee runs has carried me through a lot of 3-cell difficulty. I don't think it's good enough here. Enemies are doing so much damage, it's crazy. I think I've said before with when it comes to Dead Cells, although I appreciate them making content that apparently, only people that have put an ungodly amount of time into the game can beat, it's like, that's nice because, hey, it makes some unique content for the channel in the sense that there's not a whole lot of people that are going to be wanting to complete 4-cell mode, but, oh man, I think that less than 1% of people have beaten 3-cell mode, and this is a step higher. Nightmare. So, hey, cool for me. Unique content, but woof, I don't know if they can really justify having this being The ossuary is supposed to be a little bit smaller, I think, in the most recent patch. Same with the sepulcher and the graveyard. They shortened up the length of that a little bit, which is fine. But I still want to do a full clear anyway, even though I don't think there's anything else around here to get of any real interest. Oh, there is the food shop here, at least. Because, yeah, no... I was very, very stingy with the potions on... Oh, here's some ones that'll give you some damage reduction. KO shield's also a really nice amount of stun time when you're fighting enemies, so... Hey, that's always appreciated. Also, that +2 survival gives you a ton of health, too. There's a lot of reasons why you want to take a shield with you, even if you're not using it as a shield per se. Of course, the one thing that really suffers is kind of a little melodramatic. Oh yeah, new mutation gives you an extra 30% health. Appreciated. I'll take it. Certainly. With enemies hitting this hard, it's definitely something that you want to look for. Well, that you want to seriously consider when you get to the end here. For some reason, it doesn't have the usual explosion deal that you get with all the other mutations in the background of them. You know, it's signifying that they're mutations. But yes, the one thing that suffers, quote unquote, are the bosses. Bosses are not too difficult because you have a decent build. I think I've said this even in some of the 3-cell runs that I always plan to fight bosses. It's not so much going through the areas. The biomes are easy. It's flipped, inverted 100% on the higher cell difficulties, which is cool. And also, well, you still need to fight a boss. One of the reasons why I want to be so stingy with the potion usage is mostly for the hand fight, because I am not. While I can easily do a run against, say, this dude, an incomplete one perfectly, no question, I definitely cannot do, or even the assassin, I cannot do a run perfectly against the hand yet. I can get close. And I think that, but one of the ways that I build for fighting bosses is the same way that I build to fight any enemy, just overwhelming force, focusing on a specific stat, tactics in most cases, and then trying to blitz him down as fast as possible. Because I do have a basic hold on his, or basic hang of his move set, but not enough. You know, not enough to be able to perfect him at this point. Getting there though. Assassin was like that a lot as well, and that's one of the reasons why I like to focus on showcase runs and do basic runs, you know, at the start of a new. Get that fully upgraded now. Yeah, focus on showcase runs rather than a bunch of the challenge runs. Even though I'm gonna try to get Boomerang done, oh boy, it's still rough. No way I am going through to the Slumbering Sanctuary right now. Golems and cannibals is just, it's too much. Although fighting pirate captains is almost worse in some ways. Along with more bats per capita than the entirety of... I don't know, I got nothing. Other areas. In the sewers now, in the toxic sewers, they've added host zombies. In the old sewers, pretty much unchanged. I would say that well, I've always considered that one of the harder areas in 3-cell mode, but in 4-cell mode, that just means it's an average area, so they didn't really need to change it at all. Haven't seen the depths, and I haven't seen the... Yeah, host zombies are not too threatening, which is why I'll fight an elite one for a chance to get a blood sword. No. I like boots. The boots are great. Good for interrupting attacks, good for dealing a ton of damage with the critical. But yeah, I haven't seen depths, haven't seen graveyard. So if there are a bunch of crazy new enemies in there, And here's the thing, I know there are. Well, I don't know that there are in this update, but I know there are a bunch of new enemies coming. I haven't seen them yet. How do I know that there's a bunch of new enemies coming? Well, a guy on the Steam forums named Allah, A-L-A-A-H, not sure how to pronounce that exactly. I will put a link for this in the description too, so check it out. He has made a Dead Cells Corrupted edition, which should hopefully be coming out tomorrow or soonish, something. Which, well, pretty much what it does. Yeah, no, I like the one I'm rocking with right now. Which pretty much what it does is it takes a lot of the currently unimplemented and consequently incredibly buggy parts of the game and implements them. A bunch of new enemies, a bunch of new various level chunklets from what I understand, content. Oh, I'm going to be checking it out, and it should hopefully be tomorrow. Like I said, check down in the description. You can see Corrupted mode. It's not working currently, which is too bad, but whatever. There's new content, new official content to check out anyway. But look forward to that in the next day or so. I definitely am. I want to see some of the new enemies. Mobile shockers, kunai throwing trackers, two enemies in the castle now called screamers and bulls, which, oh boy, I want to check out. Oh, it's going to crash a ton. It is not going to be stable in any way. Stupid. Well, hey, that 75% reduction is the exact reason why I want to keep that necklace right now, because, oh, they can do so much damage if you don't have that. And the amount of Inquisitors is one of the reasons why the higher cell difficulties become so, well, difficult. Ever since the cell difficulty got introduced, I have been dying a lot more. Well, let's just say Inquisitors have been getting a lot more kills on me than they ever had in the past. Oof, they're getting up there as far as the most kills, most killed by enemies that I got. Trackers, still the king of that. Same with me killing them most. Also, what is up with this placement? I mean, I guess it works, but also, whoa, I did not even see that corpse. Sick worm down there. Ugh, bulls and screamers. Sounds fun. Something like a mobile pyramid, I think was one too. Oh, it all sounds great, and I'm totally interested in seeing that. Also, if you ever wondered what my Steam name was, I did post in that thread as well. I'll friend anybody that sends me an invite, but don't expect me to say anything. I am very antisocial. Also, I stay offline all the time. Oh, well, whatever. Thank God that there is this shop here, which is all nice. But aside from that, there's not too much to do here, so into the clock tower. Check that out. You know, there still is one more boss cell to go. The idea that there is going to be 5 cells, period, is just crazy, because this is already extremely difficult. Maybe with another level of upgrades, it will become significantly more tolerable. Maybe I just need to get used to everything, but who knows? I really shudder to think what it's going to be like on 5-cell difficulty, what sort of gimmickry is going to be there, too. Also, that still looks like there's a texture missing in the background, but whatever, anyway. I don't know, maybe you're just going to be cursed permanently, and then do 4-cell difficulty. Because this is... I mean, it's a thing. Yeah, I think here was about the point where I decided that I was, instead of going with alienation, not going to bother cursing myself, and then instead try to just find food somewhere. Hey, I switch it back to fruit from Castlevania-esque, because why not? Fruit's great. I gotta go full-on Pac-Man. That's a pretty tempting one to take, but I really, really do like the spike boots. Spike boots do amazing critical damage, and the critical damage is usually enough to knock enemies out of attacking you a lot of times. You know, giving you the ability to stun them briefly, interrupt their attack, all that sort of deal. I don't think there is a 4-cell door. can't remember quite if there is a 4-cell door inside of the clock tower. If there is, it didn't really contain anything of interest, as most of the 4-cell doors don't really have anything, you know, incredible or game-changing inside of them. They're just extra things to help you beat the game. A lot of curse chests, like I said. And curse chests are one of the main ways you're going to get healing, or at least they're one of the main ways that I get healing in this mode. I think one of the things that could have really helped me a lot when doing this is if I, instead of grabbing a KO shield or something like that, if I grabbed something to do a little bit of crowd control work. Specifically, I'm talking about getting something like an ice bow. An ice bow would have been fantastic. Freezing enemies, stopping them in place would have been great. Denial wave could have been pretty decent for taking out some of the more irritating things. You can even get out of the aggro range of elites if you get far enough away from them while they're frozen. So, could be pretty useful. Tempting to take vampirism instead of a tonic. I honestly don't remember if I did. I did, okay. Because tonic, while it does give you a pretty handy-dandy invincibility shield, it does not give you any ability to increase the amount of healing it does. Oh, also one of the great things about spiked boots is that you are able to kick. Well, it's a part of every boot, is that you're able to kick projectiles, bombs away, grenades, which makes them too much screen clutter there. If I'm gonna fight any elite fighting a... Now there's a pretty nice straight upgrade to what I had before. Also get something to replace the shield later on. You're gonna have full 60% damage reduction while only sacrificing one slot, because it's not like you're gonna be putting anything else in the Nexus slot. Also, that probably would have been a pretty nice shield to put in there, but I want that damage reduction. This is a hugely damage reduction focused run right now. Because if you're going to be taking... Well, if your healing options are limited, why not try to limit the amount of damage that you're going to take? One of the few times I tried to parry there and utterly failed it. Too bad. Yeah, the ability to kick back grenades helps a lot when you're fighting cannibals, because the cannibals, if you're too near them, which you're going to be if you're using a boot, are going to try to jump back and throw down a grenade at the same time. But then you can just kick that grenade right into them, extra damage, nullifies the grenade, it's all great. And here's where I decided that I wanted to get health back. Ooh, that was close. That cannibal was a little bit more spry than I would have expected. Another thing that I think... You know, speaking of that, another thing that I was kind of expecting for 5 boss cell mode that I think I've also floated for 4 boss cell mode is give every enemy the elite 2 times speed modifier that, well, the elites get when you're fighting them. Oh god, that if there's one thing that would kill me more than anything else, it's enemies that I cannot predict the movement of. And that's one of the big things with elites, especially like elite cannibals, because elite cannibals start moving so fast that normal cannibals, the easiest way is to look at them when they are going to jump towards you, roll through them on the other side. Well, also CC and just killing them before they attack you, but, you know, rolling through them as they jump at you, and then running past them. Don't even bother fighting them. Finally get an upgrade for the fire grenade there. Fire grenade's great because it gives you damage reduction and also sets up a lot of pretty nice synergies when it comes to... Ooh, that was close. I still got hit once anyway, but it wasn't too bad. There you go. Often screw that up. Little corner jump. Used to be you could just grab onto the edge there and go right through it without getting hit, but no, Motion Twin decided that they had to change that one. I don't blame him. It was a little cheap. Also, that was a pretty cool kick. Yeah. There you go. It would have been nice to take that cursed chest, but I feel like I have... Oh, this is bad. Not so bad. Because thankfully, there's not too much in the clock tower that's changed. I feel like this is... Aside from the extra damage that enemies deal and they take and blah blah blah, everything, there's not too much different with the clock tower. What you see is what you get. You're going to be fighting cannibals, you're going to be fighting bombardiers, you're going to be fighting trackers, all of that. So at least you know what you're getting. And I don't think there's any new enemies in... Oh, this... I have to blow one. But hey, it's either that or die. And let me tell you, as a veteran of a... Well, okay, I'm not going to say I'm a veteran of a lot of roguelikes, because that... There are people that are actual veterans, but I've beaten a fair share of them. Got like an ultra ending in ADOM. Beaten NetHack at least a dozen times. Favorite game of all time, still. But if there is one type of game that really... Alright, Da Vinci, I love you. You're great. You have been my constant companion through this entire YouTube channel, but you have to stop crashing on me all the time. Anyway, yeah, if there is one type of genre that disabuses you of the notion that something is too good to use, it is roguelikes. Oh, you want to keep your wand of fire? Well, here's a dwarven, I don't know, Deathbringer that is just about to come on you and has gotten you down to your last hit point. You sure you don't want to use it? Okay, well, restart the entire game. New little background for the door that you enter in for the assassin fight. And as usual, there is not too much to say for the assassin when it comes to doing it on high boss cell difficulty. Because you have a pretty full, what's the word I'm thinking of? Build at this point. That's kind of annoying still. You have a pretty full build, and you're able to take her down pretty quickly. She also is one of the few bosses that doesn't have a huge amount of invincibility time if you do a ton of damage. A lot of damage, though. Really, she does exemplify the sort of assassin archetype in video games. A lot of damage, but not a whole lot of health. Except for that one weekend near the start of the beta for the Brutal update, where she was just the tankiest thing to maybe ever exist. Good times, good times. Remember back when this game was hard, when no boss cells were active? Oh, seems so far away. Alright. Ton of Inquisitors, as always, in the castle. Ton of Lancers and Guardian Knights, especially the Guardian Knights, which are probably the #1 thing that would kill me. Although if you're inattentive near a Lancer, they can get you pretty good too. They do have a pretty sizable wind-up for when they're going to hit you, so... Avoiding getting hit by them, not the easiest, but more doable than if you have a full-on... Go curse sword here. Than if you have a full-on... Oh, that'd be so nice. Yeah, if you let them get their full-on spin attack out. Which I think is what I was saying. I don't know, I got distracted. Hey, and there's that ice bow I was talking about. Which it does, you know, it doesn't quite give you the amount of... That was so close, but that's what I'm talking about with the power of the spiked boot. He would not have been stunned there if I was using probably any other weapon. Of course, you might say, why didn't you use the ice bow? I have no good answers for that. But that could have been the ball game right there, so... Yeesh. Always gotta watch out for those dudes. Should have also remembered that I do have a, what do you call it here? Come on. I do have a fire grenade here, and I should be using that a bit more often. Yep, good stuff. Good stuff. Alright, round 3. And I include the assassin fight just because this was a good one. I have a very, very good build here. I think, aside from that very bad damage, as Northern Lion would say, dumb damage, I've been watching that guy a lot lately. I should do like a daily episode. Maybe do four boss cells, I don't know. Well, whatever, anyway. Aside from that, you can see it's a very powerful run. What I have right now is I have 2 heavy turrets, which provide a lot of stopping power for enemies. They get stunned constantly as soon as they get hit by those things. And I have an infantry bow, which is doing a whole ton of damage because the... Take that, Kingy. Because it has a modifier that makes it trail fire behind it as you fire out the projectile, and it also has a plus 100% on burning target, which is just amazing, top tier sort of this item combination. I cannot even believe that I managed to get it. Of course, the other, I think I also have that modifier on the heavy turret there, so it's not the most unique thing or anything. I would have been able to get enemies on fire regardless, but, you know. Oh, yeah, I could be going into the red area, which, what did I call it? It doesn't matter. Let's say the mortuary. You know, get like kind of like dead area, sort of. There's an ossuary, there's a sepulcher, mortuary, yeah, whatever. So I'm not gonna go into the mortuary because, oh god, well, first off, well, at this point I had done quite a few runs. I mean, I've been constantly doing runs, but this was after a few pretty bad ones. So double extra careful because I wanted to actually win this one. You can see a lot. This cell difficulty. It's forcing me to commit one of the greatest sins of all time. Playing cautiously. Playing boring. But anyway. Yeah, I don't want to go into the mortuary because the double fight against the trackers is in water, so I lose my fire combination. Really thought about it for a second there. And also two combatants, and that's an issue. And here's also where I took my own advice from earlier in this very video, and I have a single shield here for a lot of damage reduction. I think it's 40%. It's either that or I grab one here. Is it right now, in fact? No. That Hokuto's bow is pretty tempting. And then I also have a pretty powerful necklace along with that. That projectiles by 75% again. Because, you know. It's a very good modifier. I mean, it gives you automatic damage reduction. Like, it gives you automatically, like, the Kappa damage reduction without needing to do anything for it. Yep, what I was looking for and what I was banking on was the you see I got the mutation that gives you increased. And especially with that Inquisitor shot right down there too. But yeah, with that mutation that gives you the extra healing from food, I thought that there was always a food shop that spawned in the castle, and then that might have changed with the last patch, or maybe it's not always, but wasn't able to get it, which is too bad. That's why I made the executive decision there to blow a flask charge, even though really didn't want to. Very useful tactic when it comes to utilizing turrets well is that melee attacking enemies cannot attack you when you are on top of in the Botanic Laboratory here. I am not at all worried about fighting a Thorny. Elite Thorny's nothing. Much rather have 2 Elite Thornies than 2 Elite Trackers there. But yes, and here, knowing that there was an Elite Inquisitor and already an Inquisitor there attacking me, I decided to just bail. Yeah, if you melee attackers cannot attack you when you're on top of a chain, so you can throw down your turrets, get on a chain, and just let the turrets take care of it. It's good. It's a little cheesy, but you play the game or the game's gonna play you, is what I always say. And this is very much me playing the game because the cautiousness, it's killing me, but hey, if you want to win a run, you gotta sometimes play like that. It's the secret weapon that I never want to take out. So anyway, now all I'm looking for is the alchemic laboratory and the exit so that I can beat the elite slasher and get out of here, because it would be nice. Oh, dang. It would be nice to get the... It would certainly be nice to get the extra stat that you get, as well as maybe the boomerang blueprint and extra items, extra money. But it is not at all worth it in a lot of cases to grab all 3 keys if you think you're going to die in the castle. Could eventually be different, but... Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I got the Hayabusa gauntlets here. That was a really lucky get. Also, you can see they updated the icon, so it looks a lot better. And you know what? That alone makes me already a lot happier to use the the Hayabusa gauntlets. But they also now have a critical strike. Enemies no longer... Okay, I gotta stop saying that already. It's getting old. But on your 5th strike, it does a critical, which is pretty cool. There's the alchemic laboratory entrance too. And they look a lot better. They actually have that purple and... Yeah, if you wanted to see that, yes, I do have 4 boss cells equipped. I wouldn't lie to you anyway. And I do, in fact, have the Hayabusa... I do, in fact, have the Hayabusa blueprint. But, yes, they look a lot like the undead... The Lancers that carry the blueprint. As well as... Oop, be careful there. Yeah, they look a lot like the Lancers that carry the gauntlets. They have that gold armor on it and that bluish... It's supposed to be a bodysuit? Is that their skin color? I don't know. And I don't think they... And they also made it a lot nicer to use. It's a lot smoother feeling. A lot of the issues that I had with it before are just gone. It's a fantastic weapon, and I think... I haven't paired it up with the Hayabusa boots yet to see if there's any sort of crazy combos that you can do. Also, look at that damage. Like, 22,000. Amazing. This is a really... It's a very powerful weapon, and it's also a very powerful synergy that I have with the weapon. So, 10 out of 10, all around. Oh. Yeah, last thing I'm looking for, see if I can finally find that. The food shop, which, again, I kind of already spoiled it. I don't find, but in addition to that... Find the exit, #1 priority here. I think that extra 30% mutation is very, very helpful here because you take a lot of damage, and that really helps. As much as I would like to get something that increases the amount of damage I'm dealing, I think damn, that Lancer was so close. And I still got hit there anyway. Thankfully, was able to rally up most of the health, so it wasn't too big of a loss, but frustrating nonetheless. And this was just the end of the Botanic Laboratory, but a very, very lucky cherry pick up there. At least I got some use out of that mutation, so it wasn't entirely worthless to take. Defensive mutations, I think, are the way to go on 4-cell difficulty. Something that gives you extra health, something that allows you to regain a lot of health. Something, you know? Oh, another one of those Lancers. I mean, you gotta look for that. You're never safe. You gotta look for that, that telltale purple glow all the time. Oh, another thing they changed in this newest patch is what the alchemic rifle looks like. Before, you know, it was a very cheesy looking crossbow shot, and it shot out the little icon that appears above your head when you run out of flask charges and try to use your flask. Now you are holding the rifle sideways and doing like cool guy poses and moves, and it's Is Motion Twin watching these videos and being like, oh, what, you thought it looked cheesy before? Well. It really does make me want to do a run with that, though, because that is, in some ways, awful and other ways amazing. Might have been worth taking, but I think it's just an amazing combination that I have with that infantry bow right now. It's not worth getting rid of. Yeah, at this point it was just looking around, trying to figure out exactly where the... Well, this is also a really nice shortcut right across the entire castle. But yeah, it was looking around for the food shop, which does not seem to be here. Too bad, really. Yeah, maybe there was some better shield that I could get, but I think that at this point, getting into the throne room, which, by the way, does not have the little exclamation points being the banners anymore. Also, another thing to point out, I have 200,000 gold right now. Like, damn. I know you get a lot of gold when it comes to getting to the end of the game, but I guess that's the power. Like I said, this was the run where I went through the... This is the run where I went through the Sepulchre, got a bunch of curses there and everything. You can really rack up the money if you're opening up a lot of curse chests. And although, if I was playing a little bit less, a little bit more recklessly, I could have easily got that third key, gotten an extra stat up, maybe some sort of upgrade to something over there, but it just wasn't worth it. You could see what the new boomerang blueprint looked like. It's pretty cool. Reminds me a lot of the magic boomerang from Terraria, which, yeah, I know Terraria has boomerangs that are exactly like the boomerang. You got me. I'm dumb. Got totally blown out on that in the boomerang only. Well, not the boomerang only, but the boomerang showcase video. Which, next part of that will be coming soon. It's just, oh, it's so difficult. The hand. Hand, along with all the other bosses in the game, not too bad when you have overwhelming, insane, crazy damage. I also have 2 charges. I got emergency triage, which, as always, one of the best mutations in the game you can get. Really protects you a lot. I also nearly knocked him off the edge there. Gotta figure out how to dodge that a little bit better. Banners no longer hurt you when they fall on the ground, which is nice, but... And there you go. That's how you dodge. Still can't get that combo perfectly down. But the fact that he's mostly dead now, it really just goes to show how powerful this run is right now. It's crazy. And hey, it's very much best defense is a good offense. And emergency triage, so you have a pretty sizable amount of... Ran out of ammo here, which is the worst thing that could possibly happen. To the point that I'm... Oh, it's not great. You get a sizable invincibility period where you can do a lot of damage. And there. Managed to dodge that 3-hit combo right at the end here. Nothing new, though, which is super disappointing. I really want that giant killer. I mean, it was super disappointing enough that I went back to see if anything dropped. Just, you sure? You sure you don't want to give me the giant killer? I really want to use that weapon. Okay, that's fine. That's 4-cell mode for you. So yeah, in conclusion, I suppose you could say, I got the Hayabusa gauntlets, which is cool. I guess it's more of a purple color than like a dark blue color to it, but you know. I like that weapon. I also managed to get enough cells throughout this entire thing to fully upgrade it, which is convenient, but not entirely necessary. Yeah, it's tough. This is a really, really tough. 4 cells is really, really tough. Oh, man. Look forward to doing it a bunch more so I get used to it. So I'm prepared when 5-cell difficulty comes out.